Like sometimes like the guys like from the gyms around here end up sparring some of his guys, and
Yeah.
and, I see him every now and then, man, or I'll see him at the fight somewhere, and like I get to see my boy Wayne. But it's the first time I got to be around like a serious high caliber boxer,
Right.
and work alongside him, or even hit the pads with him, and like he didn't really spend time with me like when I'm in there sparring and stuff, but like I got to train with him, and to me that was everything.
Just
like,
being able to observe stuff like that, man, like
just a soak up game to watch him like interact with people was something that was like, yo, you don't get this at every gym.
Yeah.
This is a Hall of Fame boxer right here.
That's
This guy made it to the tippity tip top
Right.
of boxing.
Right.
That I was like, oh man, that's a
Yeah, what were some of your takeaways from him, just like as a coach?
the tenacity of being, one of those come forward boxers, and like I think to this day nobody's ever knocked him out.
Right.
And he fought the best of the best in his division,
Yeah.
and like that, the way he styled, he's a very volume,
Just his style.
come forward fighter, and like I think that's why he garnered a lot of respect from the Mexican audience,
Right.
Because he fought the same way that the typical Mexican style would be: come
Yeah.
forward, work the body, a lot of short punches. So he's right there, close enough to land them, and he's gonna throw them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start training out of this spot. Talk to me a little bit about, let's take it forward into like you actually becoming the coach that we now know today, but what
Right.
was the beginning of that journey like? How was it for you? Talk a little bit about that time, just like starting to become a coach.
Yeah, so I became a coach because I didn't have anything better to do.
Right.
So I was doing construction at the time, and I was boxing. So I had I gave myself a rigorous schedule. Like, dude, I have dreams of becoming an amateur boxer at this point. I'm training every day. I've got to dabble in some sparring because, like, I could, I'm young enough to do this. And, like, I started late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How old are you at this time?
Like 19, 20.
Oh, okay.
So
fully prime mode. You're ready to
Yeah,
rock.
I was like, I was just an athlete in high school. Like, I'm ready to go. So I was like, trying to like lay off the booze, and like, all the homies on the construction side are in their 30s, and I'm always the youngest guy on the site.
Right.
So I just walked a different path. I got up really early. I would run, 3 to 5 miles, like at least 3 or 5 days a week.
Right.
Before I'd go into the job site at 8 o'clock, and luckily everything was local.
Yeah.
And then after I was done at 4 or 5 o'clock at the construction site, I would go home, eat something, and I would make it to the gym by 6:37, and I would be training until like 8:39.
Yeah.
Whether I was taking a class or just hitting the bag on my own or sparring, I was able to go in and do that, and I did that consecutively for the better part of a year,
Yeah.
a year and a half, and then while I was sparring, an old injury came back to haunt me. I dislocated my shoulder a bunch when I was playing football.
Oh, snap.
So I actually I ran track because of this injury, because I couldn't play football my junior year.
Right.
So tore my labrum actually from sparring. Yeah, I hit somebody at the top of their head, and like it was an older dude, and like so he had a hard ass head. Something, man, it's like old dudes got hard ass heads. So I cracked him. I think pink, and I hit him kind of awkward, and like it bounced off the top of his head. He kind of rattled, and like my shoulders like popped out and stayed out.
Wow.
And so I'm sparring the rest of the round with one arm like this, and I'm still green at the time, so I'm like in there looking stupid.
Right.
And then my boy Rashad Holloway, who was he was a pretty big name in boxing at the time.
Yeah.
It still is, like, if you ask around, like people who trained at Wild Card back in like the heyday with Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, he was the chief sparring partner for most of those guys in the welterweight division, and he was a national champ from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah. First gym I ever went to was Manny's.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?